Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Terri Murphy here, and we appreciate your being on this call today. And I'm personally delighted to be your moderator for the RISMedia's Broker Webinar Series. And although every one of these webinars is always loaded with great information and experts, I'm going to tell you today's session is truly a game changer. This session addresses the challenges that brokerages face every day trying to combine that communication with that tech adoption, and it's just so timely. So as technology continues to advance daily, these brokerages and these leaderships are looking for specific ways and systems to help our agents transition to, kind of embrace these new platforms and centralize the many resources that your company often offers, which ultimately really creates a higher service offering to our clients and our customers while helping our agents kind of streamline their business and their services. So before we get started, we always like to have a few housekeeping issues that we want to go over. Throughout the call, by the way, we'll be recording this great content, so our listeners will be muted. That'll give you a much better experience. But if you have specific questions for any of our guests, or you just really want some more information, look to your control panel dashboard and go to where it says questions. That's an area, and just type in your question. Now throughout the webinar, we'll be monitoring those questions and during and again at the end of our panelist presentations. So if you have a question for either of our panelists, which will be Anthony Azar or Bart Patterson or Lauren Hill, who's from Clareity, we will just type in their name and we'll be sure to give them your questions, and so we'll get you answered. So take good notes. We know that RISMedia will send you the link to the recording so that you can go back and review it if you want to, but feel real free to be interactive and to share your questions or your comments, because we're going to be happy to answer them. And speaking of sponsors, our sponsor today is Clareity Security with Lauren Hill. She's the Senior Account Executive, and we so appreciate their support for our programs as we go forward. And I just would like to, though, I think, give you a brief introduction of our panelists as they come on, and we're going to be talking to each of them a little bit later after Lauren presents. So let me just tell you about today. Today's presentation really features insights and personal experience with the Clareity Broker Dashboard that Lauren's going to be talking to you about. Anthony Azar is the operating principal for Keller Williams in Southern Arizona. Hello, Anthony.
Good morning, or afternoon, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. You're in that wonderful place. Yeah, well, we look forward to hearing more from you in a minute. And I want to say a quick hello to our other panelist, Bart Patterson. He's the Vice President and General Manager of RE/MAX Classic in Michigan. Hello, Bart.
Hello, it's cold out here.
I know, and I don't think that Anthony's going to tell us where he is, that it's nice out. Are you, Anthony?
Sunny Las Vegas. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, and then with that, I'm going to introduce Lauren Hill, an impressive lady. Lauren is the Senior Account Executive of Clareity Security, and she is here to introduce this revolutionary dashboard platform, and of course, one of RISMedia's greatest sponsors. So I'd like to introduce Lauren as the Senior Account Executive for Clareity. She joined Clareity Security in 2016 after 3 successful years focused on broker and agent sales at ListHub. I'm sure you've heard of that. Currently, she serves as the Senior Account Executive at Clareity, working with MLSs and associations and brokerages all across the country. Now, here's something interesting about her. She also hails from Las Vegas and was literally born into real estate. I mean, this is not fair. Lauren is the 3rd generation of her family in the real estate business. Her grandparents actually owned and operated a brokerage for over 40 years. Lauren's mother's a superstar realtor for over 20 years, and get this, is currently an CMLS director. So Lauren clearly has a deep understanding of all sides of the real estate business. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to having you help us learn about this new and exciting platform. So go ahead and start sharing.
Well, first of all, thank you all for joining in today, registering for this event and participating. I'm hopeful that this information will be very useful to every single person on this presentation. And I will keep this fairly brief. I want to be conscious of your guys' time, but really kind of dig in deep, exactly what Terri said, this very innovative but very simple product that we're going to be talking about today, which is called our broker dashboards. We branded it as Dash, so if you see any material that is out there for Clareity, you'll see that our product is called Dash with an exclamation point. So without further ado, let's get started. And Terry, the next slide, please. One more. All right, so first and foremost, who is Clareity? Clareity's been around for, well over, as you can see, well over 11, 12, soon to be 13 years. And we primarily have focused on security and consulting over the last decade plus, and really worked with MLSs and associations across the country. We serve over 825,000 agents on a daily basis with our MLS and association products. So since we've been kind of in this world for quite some time, within the past year or two, we kind of started thinking, why haven't we entered the broker world? We have great resources and products that would be just as useful to our broker clients as they are our MLSs and associations. I also want to add that since Clareity's been in the game for quite some time, and we have a great reputation from Clareity, or from security to consulting, and then MLSs and associations. We have partnerships and integrations with over 250 real estate and enterprise vendors, which a lot of this will come into play throughout this presentation as to what those real estate vendors and enterprises would actually do with what I'm talking about today. Next slide. So with Clareity, entering this broker world, we wanted to be very well versed and educated to exactly what our brokers' problems were and what we could really solve. And we asked them dozens of questions, but there's two that stood out the most that are going to be really relevant in today's presentation. The first question we asked was, do you feel technology adoption is a challenge for agents within your brokerage? 100% of the brokers in our survey said yes. You all that are participating in this call today face the challenge of purchasing technology products and resources that, of course, you hope that all of your agents that are within your office use on a daily basis. But a lot of the time you don't know if the individuals in your office or offices are actually clicking on the registration link to actually register for said technology product, taking the time to take a training course, or actually utilizing that resource, and even down to remembering the username and password of that technology application or resource that you so graciously bought for your entire office. So that's one huge struggle that brokers, obviously 100% of our 2,500 survey, actually said is a huge problem within their office. Now the next one is, do you feel communication between all members of your brokerage can improve? And almost 90% of our brokers said, yeah, this is something that we can improve. We all face this on a daily basis. Communication is key, but we work and live in a world now that's so remote. You might have multiple offices, you might have 10 agents, you might have 1,000 agents, and sending out emails, quite frankly, just doesn't suffice anymore. A lot of the times they're archived, deleted, never read. So our challenge that Clareity kind of faces, how do we help that technology gap, help that communication gap for our brokers in kind of an environment that we have already been used to producing for MLSs and associations, and that is where our product, our Clareity Dashboard for brokers, was created. So because we've already done this MLS and association dashboard, where it's really a set place for an MLS and association put all of their resources and applications into one single place, we again thought, why not offer this to the brokerage? So we took this infrastructure that we've already built for hundreds of MLSs and associations across the country, and we're now offering it to you all. This dashboard will be a place holding for, as a brokerage, you can put your own applications and services within this dashboard. If you have local partnerships or affiliates and you want to promote that partnership in business, this is also an environment of which you can actually have an advertising or sponsorship option for those affiliates. It is also an environment where content, blogs, videos, photos, training videos, documents can all live within this dashboard, so all of your agents will be able to access this on a daily basis. And lastly, bridging that communication gap, being able to post messages and notifications within a dashboard that we are going to have your agents go to on a daily basis. And you'll see the next little ticker come on the bottom right here if you want to just hit the button one more time. But many of you who are participating today, because there are a vast array of brokers who are participating today, that might actually already be familiar with our Clareity dashboard. We, as I said, have hundreds of MLSs and associations utilizing this dashboard, and I'll show you an example in a minute. So for many of you on this call today, it's going to be a very simple transition and adoption from whatever your agents are already used to. If they already have, or you guys are affiliated with an MLS and association that has a Clareity dashboard, it's almost an exact mimic for your brokerage. If you are a broker who is not a part of an MLS or association that is a Clareity customer, don't worry, you are still able to use this product as we can create a standalone dashboard for you all. Next slide, Terry. So I'm going to give you kind of an example. This is a demo or a mock-up of what our MLS or our association's dashboard looks like. So we are the identity provider for our MLSs and associations for when their members log into, say, the MLS, that they land on this dashboard. And as you can see in the sample, they see all their MLS services, they see their association services, notifications, and content that is posted by their MLS. Now, what we're going to be able to do with this broker dashboard we're presenting for you guys today is basically light up a tab that says when you log into your regional MLS, your association dashboard, or if it's the standalone dashboard, you are going to be able to see the name of your brokerage appear within a tab on the screen. Now, Terry, if you can just click the tab real quick. There you go. So as you can see that we will light up that brokerage name. So whatever brokerage you are affiliated with and your agents, when they log into either the standalone dashboard or the MLS and association dashboard, you are going to be able to see the name of your brokerage. This tab is going to be added for you, and only your agents will be able to see it. Now, as an agent, once they click on that brokerage name, Terry, next slide, they're now going to be rerouted to a broker dashboard. As you can see on this broker dashboard, it's very generic, but this is going to give you guys the capability to really create an environment that is inviting to your agents, informative, and of course have all of your applications and resources in one place. We can brand this with your brokerage logo, your brokerage colors, and at the end of this presentation you'll see two of our current customers and how they really were very creative when creating their dashboard. But the first thing I want to talk about is the module, our broker products. That broker product option is going to allow you, as the broker owner or managing broker of your company, the opportunity to upload whatever applications and resources that you are offering to your brokerage, whether it is your email, if you have a CMA or a CRM that you obviously provide to your agents, if you have anything from calendar events, social media, if you have a member directory for your office, if there are certain publishers, whatever applications or tools and resources that you promote within your office, this is a great environment in order for you guys to upload all of these into this dashboard, and the adoption rate of all these products goes up tremendously because now your agents are logging into an environment on a daily basis, some of them maybe several times a day, and being able to access everything. And this is really the key to this, guys, is that your agents are never going to forget the tools that you offer. They're never going to forget the value you provide because of all of these resources in one centralized location. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we have over 250 integrated partners and vendors in this industry. We have an option called single sign-on integration. Single sign-on integration allows you all to look through our library of resources of our partners, and many of these applications and resources you put on this dashboard will be single sign-on enabled, meaning once your agent has logged into either the standalone dashboard or the MLS dashboard and then have transferred over to the brokerage dashboard, we already know who they are. So if they click on one of our 250 plus single sign-on integrated vendors, there's a good chance that they will not, your agents will not have to enter their username or password a second time. Now, if there is vendors or products that are not in our single sign-on library, don't worry. We can simply put a link very similar to Google Apps, as you can see on this screen, where they would just have to either log in with their username and password again, or they can have their browser remember their username and password, which many of them probably already do. So it's really centralizing all of the resources in one location. And really on the back end of this as well, as a broker, you're going to be able to see the analytics behind this dashboard. knowing how many of your agents are actually logging into this dashboard and who is clicking on what, which helps all of you make better business decisions as to what applications you should continue to offer, or what applications that might not be necessarily working for your office, and you all can make that better business decision based off the analytics we give you from the back end of this dashboard. The next two modules on your right that I'll talk about is our notifications and what we call our content management, which is labeled top stories here. But these two modules are very important based off an idea that we have tagging on the back end of all of this. So what tagging means is there is specific notification, content, messages, or applications that certain people in your office should see and certain people in your office shouldn't see. You'll be able to tag specific notification and content to a specific person, group of person, whether that is maybe only sending notifications to agents who have joined your team or your office in the last 90 days, or if you want to just send out a notification to your branch managers or brokers. This really gives you guys the opportunity to specifically use this dashboard to reach a customized audience. But that notification module is going to bridge that gap of the communication issues a lot of brokerages face on a daily basis. This will be relevant information that you all post, whether it is to go out to your entire office or offices or a specific person. The notification module does not just live in this box on the right. There are several different options for you all. We have a pop-up notification where anytime an agent logs into the dashboard, you guys can set up a pop-up notification and almost force them to read a very strong call to action message. In this pop-up notification, you can say, I'm only going to allow this notification to live here for 10 seconds before they can actually click out of the screen. We see a lot of our customers using that pop-up notification, like I said, for great call to action. And again, they can't click anything else on the screen until that 10-second has elapsed, and then now they can go and use all of the products and services. So it's just a great way that you're actually pushing these notifications in an environment that they're going to live in, they hopefully start and end their day. Our content management piece really is created to exactly how you guys want. Think of it as a Dropbox, but a little bit more detailed. You'll be able to drop, documents, photos, training videos, anything that your agents would need on a daily or monthly basis, or anything that your agents ever ask you for, instead of them actually reaching out to you or you having to send out various emails to various people with documents attached. Put it all, upload it all into this content management piece. We have customers that put in their monthly or weekly newsletters, they put in their social media feed, they even put links to their open houses for that weekend to make this an environment that's more interactive for all of the agents within the office. Now, Terri, if you click one more time, lastly on this screen, I'm going to talk about the broker, vendor, and affiliates. Many of you guys already have joint vendors or partners in this industry that you promote, whether it is a title company, a bank, a mortgage company, even down to movers or even a landscaper. Well, this allows you guys to showcase these partnerships and affiliates within the dashboard that you're pushing your agents to on a daily basis. It's a great opportunity where once this dashboard goes live, you can create a little non-dues revenue on the side, because it can be an advertising portal for you all. You can reach out individually to all of your partners or all of your affiliates and let them know that you have X amount of agents going to this dashboard on a daily basis. They will have an opportunity to advertise on this dashboard, and it will live within this module, and you as a business can choose how you want to charge them, whether it be on a monthly or annual basis. But it also just strengthens your partnership and, of course, creates revenue right off the bat when this dashboard goes live. Next slide, Terri. So I really kind of want to review over a little bit of everything. This dashboard was really meant to centralize all of your resources. We make it really efficient by having a lot of those single sign-on integrations already built in, but at the very least, we can include any of your resources, and it can be a simple link to that product or that resource for your agents. This is the best way for you to communicate one-on-one with individuals within your office or your entire office. Being able to make sure that your notifications, your content that you're pushing out to all of your agents or all of your entire office or offices lives and breathes in a place that isn't going to get jumbled up with other emails that happen to come throughout the day. This adoption rate of the products that we've seen integrated into this dashboard, the adoption rate goes through the roof. There are so many times where brokerages get frustrated, and coming from the broker sales side, brokers wouldn't buy products because they were just frustrated that their agents wouldn't remember even the simple link to the product that they were offering. So not only is the adoption rate going up on this product, but on the other fold too, you're seeing a return on your investment. Great recruiting and retention tool. Most of you on the call, most all brokers are constantly recruiting. If you can show to prospects, that, potential agents within your office, that we have a dashboard with all of our tools and resources in one centralized location, and they start seeing that the value you're going to provide, it's going to be hard for them to say no when they want to come work for your office. And retention is obvious. The fact that you built this spine for them, this dashboard for your agents, where they're going to start learning their behavior to start and end their day and everything in between to make them more efficient, which in the end, that actually helps you as a brokerage and the end customer. Customized audience with those notifications and content as well. When you post this stuff, it really doesn't necessarily have to go out to your entire office. It can go to a specific person or group of people. Don't forget about that sponsorship and affiliate module, which we call LSA, but it's just honestly, it's an option for you as a broker to promote your partnerships and to have advertising options within this dashboard. And this replaces a lot of dated intranets. There are intranets still out there. That is a good placeholding for all of your resources, but they don't allow you to communicate with your office. They don't allow you to post content or training videos or have pop-up notifications or really force your agents to start and end their day within this environment. Lastly, before we move on to our next panelist, there is a setup fee and a monthly software and support fee. I wish I could tell you guys a more hard number, but a lot of our pricing is based off the brokerage size, and then of course whether or not you are affiliated with an MLS or association who has that infrastructure already built that many of you guys might even already be used to. So when it comes to the setup fee and the monthly fee, please reach out to Clareity. If you want to jot down, I know we have this in the presentation as well, but sales@clareity.com, and Clareity is spelled C-L-A-R-E-I-T-Y. Please reach out to us. We would love to give you guys a call, whether it's today, sometime this week, go through a little bit more detail, and then of course give you a better pricing quote for both that monthly and that setup fee. But thank you for your attention. I'm going to pass this back on to Terri and our panelists, and I will be here to answer any questions towards the end.
Well, Lauren, thank you. That is an extensive and comprehensive platform. I've got to say that by integrating all of that, it has got to help the communication a lot. And here's the thing, though. We always want to know from somebody who's actually used it. And clearly we wanted to demonstrate everything that it does, but what about the users? And we're delighted to introduce our next panelist. That's Mr. Anthony Azar. He has quite a proven track record building successful businesses and strategic partnerships, because over the most recent decade, Anthony's focus has been really on integrated real estate services, which is perfect, including real estate brokerage, mortgage lending, title insurance, property casualty insurance, and that ever good home warranty. So this is especially interesting as we learned from Lauren how the integration of the Clareity platform has had on the impact of Anthony's company and his agents. He's the operating principal for Keller Williams and the regional owner and operator for Keller Williams Southern Arizona region, so he gets to be in that warm weather a lot. And he created a new division within Keller Williams Realty International focusing on strategic partnerships with mortgage, title insurance, and home warranty. So he's comes to us with amazing experience. We're delighted to hear from you. Thank you for joining us, Anthony.
Oh, Terri, thank you for that kind introduction, and I'm really glad to be an honor to be a panelist today.
Well, we're glad to have you. It's always interesting, Anthony, to get real-life insights from the management teams to discover what your actual experience has been with your agents in the adoption and deployment of a new platform, because we know agents don't always just jump right on that change, having been licensed for a long time. And you mentioned in our pre-webinar call that you'd been working with Clareity Broker Dashboard for just a few months, and I was wondering, can you share kind of an overview of your experiences so far?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Lauren did a fantastic job of bringing the power of this product into focus. It takes a lot of pressure off me trying to articulate it. I can just tell you that our agents absolutely love it. The feedback has been amazing, and is I'm sure all the brokers on this call can attest to, that you don't usually get universal positive feedback on anything you roll out to your agent population. But this is the feedback that we've gotten on this has been nothing short of astounding.
And I'm sure that there was some kind of a ramp up on that, because obviously as a realtor and having been licensed for a long time, they always want to know, is this going to make me more money? And what would you say to that when they asked you that, when you first introduced it?
Well, so one of the enormous benefits of partnering with Clareity, and I consider them a partner. They're definitely not a vendor. They're a partner, and they behave like a partner every step of the way. They're a delight to work with. Is that they've created this intuitive platform, and this intuitive platform, as you're showing on the screen right now, the agent in their natural course of their business. So they're logging into MLS, and this is what they see, and this is an incredibly powerful visual representation of our value proposition. So in and of itself, it's just this intuitive platform that the agent already knows how to use. And when I asked a lot of our agents and a lot of our people that the very question you're asking me, about how does this help them make more money, help them be more productive. First and foremost, it helps them save time. They have a single central place to go for all their resources, and it's in the natural course of their workflow. So time really is money, as we know in an agent's life. Agents are extraordinarily busy people. They're juggling a lot of balls, and this allows them to go to one place repeatedly for all the systems, tools, resources that we provide. And of course, it allows us to communicate with them in important ways about things that could be important to them personally, or important to their clients. As an example, investment, links to an investment presentation or seminar that we might be holding in our market centers. Or a whole variety of things. Training on new purchase contract that's being rolled out by the association, or yeah. And I'm getting long-winded, Terry, so I'll let you lead the conversation.
It's all in. That was one of the questions I wanted to say. When you've got a number of agents, I know Bart has about over 185 agents that he works with, who's our next panelist. You've got to get the word out in some way. And we know that realtors don't always check their email. They're kind of busy. Sometimes they don't get read. This actually gives you accountability. Would I be accurate with that? I mean, you can tell that it went to them because it's centralized.
Absolutely. And we know that they're not reading a lot of the emails we send. And we also know they're frustrated, for example, with the volume of information that we've pushed out through these historical communication channels like emails, because they have to sift through a lot of stuff that really doesn't pertain to them to get to the stuff that does. And as Lauren so capably described it, this allows us to customize our messaging to the agent in a whole number of ways. And let me just say on the front end, we're neophytes in how to use this powerful tool. We are literally just getting started. So a lot of what I'm saying might be aspirational. We hope to get better at really understanding how to use this powerful tool. But, we get very excited when we think in terms of being able to communicate by office, by market, by price point, by product, by by their experience level, by their production level.
Exactly.
So that the content that's coming up on the screen in front of them is content that is literally customized to the agent that logs in to the screen, and that really shows the agent, by the way, that we care, and that we get it, that we understand where they live and how they make money.
And what they need. So one of the best things that I thought about when I learned this from Lauren and when I spoke with you and Bart was that pop-up. Now that pop-up that's an attention getter, number one, and because it's customized to the specific agent, as you were speaking about, in this case you've got an example of a new agent orientation and training. How cool is this? I mean, it's right there in front of you. You can't forget about it. Lauren said it has to deploy for at least 10 seconds. Was that correct?
You can choose whatever time elapsed you want. You can have it where it doesn't have it and they can click off the screen right away. But if you want to force your agents to read this message, as you can see in this example, you know, Anthony's put this up for 12 seconds. They're kind of forced to read this. I mean, if they're logging in to see a calendar event or, you know, whatever the case may be, they're kind of forced to read what's on their screen before they start their productive anything on the dashboard.
And I'm sure that's helped you a lot, Anthony, with regards to getting them plugged into the extra value proposition that they'll be able to offer to their own clients and customers. Because ultimately, you had said something in our pre-interview that really resonated with me when you said, our vision is how we will use this tool to benefit our agents, of course, but ultimately the consumer. Because at the end of the day, as the realtor, to stay in the center of the transaction, we're looking for them to have the comprehensive integration of all the communication, all the services. And so, as an example, you've only been using this for a short time. For your strategic alliances, I would say, wouldn't this be a tremendous opportunity for you to have better agent referrals and that kind of reciprocity because it's there?
Absolutely. I could just tell you anecdotally, we've already seen a lift across the board with our vendors and alliance providers already. And to be quite honest, we're just beginning to focus on, you know, when they click on a link, what should happen. And our alliance providers and our vendors have been extremely excited about this opportunity. As, you know, give you an example, our title company is already now modifying their website capability to allow an ease of upload of the purchase contract right to the escrow officer, and a little interactive, you know, communication tool that allows the agent to instruct the title company, hey, an earnest money check needs to be picked up, go get it. Those kinds of things are going to benefit the clients that the agent's serving, and of course, like, you know, we talked about earlier, it's in the normal workflow of the agent's life. They're here already conducting business. All the tools are here. It allows them to communicate with their key team members, including us, on things that they need, you know, when they need it.
And that makes it, that just really heightens the time efficiency, heightens the paper trail, and I think it's because there's such a compounding in integration as technology keeps advancing, how you integrate this. And for me, from just observationally working with you and Bart, that that clearly it offers a value proposition not only for recruitment and retention, because what you're doing is you're interpreting the value of helping the realtor conduct their business in a more seamless way. So I would see that as a biggie. I would also see the fact that there's already implied endorsement and trust between you and the vendors, so they don't have to go outside of the system to do that. And like you mentioned, your vendors are now accommodating it so that there's even more seamless integration. So do your agents, or are you teaching them, or is there a platform for them to start articulating this extra value proposition to their clients and their customers, with the fact that they're streamlined? Is that something that or is that something you're still experiencing and looking for them to get the aha, so to speak?
Well, good question, and I'd say again, it's all here. The platform provides us the opportunity to allow the vendors, for example, to customize a communication that we can insert in here in a whole number of ways to help the agents understand the value that particular vendor is bringing to their life and their client's life. And that's that top of mind opportunity in front of them every day, every time they log into MLS, is going to have, you know, the ancillary benefit of I think, more business. Just ease of use is going to create more business.
Well, I see this as being very agent-centric, and so you get the opportunity to really listen to them, and that makes their lives easier. And I think you discussed that your goal is to create a deeper relationship with your realtor agents to build their business and use the tools and models that you already know that works. So I would say that would be amazing And then you said in closing, your last real bucket is that there's agent satisfaction. What have they said to you so far? Because usually, getting them to use anything is always a push, and then there's the learning curve. And this one looks so unconsciously competent because they're already used to using MLS. So can you give us a little wrap on that?
Yeah, well, I think you said it very well. It's an interface they're already accustomed to using. Clareity has designed an incredibly intuitive platform. The agents know how to use it without any explanation. It speaks volumes to our value proposition. It saves them time. Sort of all the reasons stated above. One of the things that I was real excited, one of the developments that I know Clareity is working on is a two-way communication tool, so that the agents can literally communicate with us about what they want specifically, or questions that they have in their life specifically, in their world specifically. So we're able to have this platform, this communication tool, and communication is everything. I mean, almost all source of dissatisfaction in my experience anyway with our agent population has come from our inability to communicate effectively and consistently with our agent population.
Yeah,
and, but quite simple, this is the game changer. This solves it.
Yeah, it does. Having been a realtor, still being a realtor, I can just tell you having that integration where I can just click here to register, or tie into a training if I'm having a specific block on whatever, it really makes it simple. And it's, again, you said your vision is on how we use this tool to benefit our agents and ultimately the consumer, and I think you've done a great job with that. Well, obviously we're going to open for questions and answers in a second, but after we hear from Bart, is there anything specific with, as an example, using some of the social media platforms that you found specific engagement with your agents?
Oh, I'm afraid that is something I'm going to gladly defer to Bart on. But I can tell you that of course the real estate industry is dynamic. We're constantly, it's a very competitive industry. We're constantly having to evolve and get better and add tools and modify tools and maybe take away tools that are no longer cutting edge or effective. And this allows us, again, the seamless ability to integrate them into our value proposition. And for the betterment of the client, and I'll give you an example, is HouseFax. We're entering into a new relationship with HouseFax. This allows us to implement it immediately. There's no need to quote unquote have a formal rollout. It's there. We can communicate with them about what it is, why it's there, how to use it, but we're going to do it all from this interface. No reason for special meetings or emails or any of like.
And that is wonderful, because as you know, the younger generation thinks meetings should be canceled forever. I particularly, just as a personal opinion, is having that do not call list so available is really, to me, proactive about not having any other issues. But Anthony, I want to thank you for sharing with that, and stick around, because after Bart does his presentation, we're going to have a few minutes for questions and answers. But that was a really terrific overview of how your people are using it. So it's always interesting to get multiple insights and different experiences, and we're lucky to have Mr. Bart Patterson with us today. Been kind of talking to him like he's sort of there. Bart is the Vice President General Manager, yeah, good, Associate Broker of RE/MAX Classic in Michigan with 6 offices, and they've just recently opened that 6th office in Commerce, Michigan. And they're proud to be the largest RE/MAX in Michigan by sales volume with 185 agents. Bart started in 1996 when the brokerage opened as a buyer's agent. He's been a residential market ever since, getting his broker's license the 3rd year in his business. You little overachiever, good for you. And lots of designations that go with that, which of course are all going to be important to the consumer as we advance them. I thought it was particularly interesting to learn that you teach several NAR level programs, one being the green designation, of course, for energy efficient homes, and the code of ethics, along with your in-house training. But Bart understands technology, which and this is a technology platform, and the technical training at his company. And so I'd like to introduce Bart to tell us how he and his agents are enjoying or learning whatever to do the Clareity platform.
Terry, thank you very much. I appreciate and the honor of being here today to speak to everybody about this. And it's always great to go last because, like Anthony said, Lauren did a wonderful job displaying and really showing the power of what this system is and the vision of what you could use it for. There's so many cool tools here, but it boils down to when we first started, we talked about integration and agents actually adopting these things. And part of it is the technology, but part of it is just the word change. They don't like change. So things have to be very simple. The more simple it is and the least amount of change from what they're used to, the better. So when we saw this through our MLS, who was using it as their dashboard, we looked at it and said, oh, this is a no-brainer. And as Anthony talked, it brought all of our systems to the forefront, again, keeping everything top of mind, all of our services, our value proposition for our agents constantly, day after day, right there in the tool that they use the most, the MLS.
Can I ask you a quick question? One of the questions we have from our attendees is, it's top of mind, it's technological, it's cutting edge. Is this strictly a desktop application, or is it also mobile?
I've never actually used it. We have an actual mobile app for our MLS, so I actually log in that way. I have to honestly say I've never actually logged into, the MLS using the other part of it, going through the browser itself. I've actually just used the MLS app because we do have a very, very strong MLS app through the system there.
Okay.
So you can answer that. Maybe Lauren can answer that one for you.
Yep. I didn't want to interrupt you. Yeah, and to kind of highlight, this is mobile responsive. So if you have agents, whether they're using their desktop, their iPad, a tablet, down to their iPhone or any smartphone, it is mobile responsive. They will be able to log in, whether it is from the MLS or association dashboard, and then of course into the broker dashboard, or if it's a standalone dashboard, they'll still be able to utilize all of these resources as well. And then we do have, beyond this too, which is something that we can bring up more one-on-one based on the dashboard, is that we do have a Dash app that would be hopefully available sometime this quarter, where we can actually bring a mobile application onto anyone's smartphone, or like I said, iPad, and then that would allow your end user, the agent, to be able to log in and then again access all of these tools and resources.
Well, thank you for that. I think that was one of our questions. I always like to get something like that answered. Well, Bart, you and I, when we spoke, you talked about how well everything is templated, and how that all works together. You said you can literally get signatures within 5 minutes. Talk to me about that.
Well, the goal behind the whole system was, again, streamlining the agent services. So with our MLS and our transaction desk, which is a function of the Instanet forms, we wanted to make the time in front of the computer as limited as possible, because they ultimately want to be out with the client, showing houses, listing houses, doing that. If they're good salespeople, they hate doing paperwork. So, yeah. So our goal was to reduce the time that they actually spent creating that paperwork, and so they could be back out there, get it into the Authentisign, for electronic signatures or whatever they're going to use, get the paperwork back. When they get the new listing, then be able to put it on Facebook and Zillow and LinkedIn and the Circle Pix tours and do everything from one spot. This, again, answered that question. As you see, our dashboard is extremely simple, but the interesting part is that's there for a reason. We didn't want it to look dramatically different than what they were used to in the actual MLS system, but we wanted to bring our value proposition pieces to them and what we're offering for those connections of our vendors and affiliates and so forth, to make sure that they had everything at their fingertip to be able to do it within a matter of minutes, not remembering websites and all those other things that we
and passwords. So yeah. How does this how do you present this differently from RE/MAX Launchpad as an example?
Yeah, I think it's because it's ours, and because we can say that we brought this in for our agents, we don't follow everything that the RE/MAX Launchpad has. Again, most brokerages have their own way of doing things, and some of that's based on the way their MLS and what they're offering as services. As I mentioned, we use Transaction Desk within our MLS, and I'm also a board director on the MLS, so I get to watch all those kinds of things that are going on. But with that Instinet coming in and then AuthentiSign, that's a perfect platform for us to stay right within the same vendor. But to use DocBox and AuthentiSign and all the other things that are out there and have multiple systems, this just seems to be more streamlined. So that's why we don't use this. We feel that this is a more useful thing for us and our services.
Yeah, and you mentioned when we spoke together that you could schedule open houses within minutes,
Right.
and everything's there. Tell us a little bit more about how you how that works for you.
Well, again, within MLS, if we're going to Facebook or Zillow, we can jump right on. The information's all handy because we're all within the dash itself. So we're not having to remember those logins or save them as favorites. Again, remembering the passwords is a problem. We have an onboarding process that we go through here in our office when a new agent comes in, and we do sit with them and we create a password sheet for them and things of that nature. But ultimately, they think I'm going to remember all 185 passwords for them, for those agents, and for every service that they have.
Oh my!
So
well,
that's not a good thing, and so we try to make it as easy as possible. And the single sign-in operation here is perfect.
one of the frustrations that we discussed was how, as a broker, owner, manager, leadership team, you're just never sure if they read what you sent out, the emails, the private Facebook page. There was no way to actually notify them of upcoming issues about news, scams, dollar rights, all that kind of thing. What you were pretty excited about being able to measure and monitor using the system.
Yep. So just so you understand, one of the key things to this is we've taken it in a phased implementation as well. So literally just today at 10:30, I got my training from Clareity on doing the actual notification and the CMS type services. So we will be adding that to our dashboard. Our dashboard has been up for about a month and a half, 2 months. So the next phase of it, we will be adding those little pieces off on the side where we can get the notifications out there and those kinds of things. But again, being able to see it. We do have a private Facebook page that we do a lot of our posting on, because just like Anthony said, we send emails and we know that the filing system they went into, unfortunately, was the trash can, not the one labeled important stuff.
Oh, come on, really?
It's a typical realtor thing. They've got 1,000 emails coming in. They want to get to the business, and then sometimes they don't look at what's there, so we want to be able to pop that little screen, give them some quick information. I love the fact that we're able to link videos and do a little 5-minute training video or something, and it's right there on their screen, and they can click on it, and then I can get the analytics to see who's looking at it, how many times they're looking at it. Those were tools that were in intranets, but they were far more cumbersome and more difficult to do than this is going to be able to do.
Yes, and you'd mentioned that one of the calendar was an important facet that you found useful.
Yep, the calendar will be our next implementation where we're going to be able to put all of our company events, any company training, and one of the features of that is they will actually be able to register for those events right on the calendar. So rather than sending out a Google, calendar piece that goes onto their calendar and they register by saying yes and then it tallies them there, or we use Eventbrite or one of the other services, this being right within the system, they can say, oh, there's some training coming up. Oh, that looks interesting. Click, yes, I want to attend. And it immediately then will put it on the calendar, and every time they log in, it'll show they're there.
Yeah, so that's got to be so useful for management, especially when you've got separate offices like both you and Anthony have, where you've got different offices and different management and sometimes even different time zones. So it's been really working for both of you, and I really appreciate your input here. It's always good to get a few more comments from other users and different levels of implementation. And I wanted to open it up for questions, and we have one specific question that I think is best ask to Lauren. We had, how does a tech vendor with large national footprint get integrated with Dash for a single sign-on on the platform for mutual customers? Is that too technical, or is that something that you can answer, Lauren?
Nope, not too technical at all. We would get them to connect with the appropriate person on the Clareity team that works with all of our vendor partners and enterprise partners, and then to kind of go forward with that conversation to become single sign-on integrated. So if you would love to, you can still email us at sales@clareity.com, and we'd be happy to push you to the appropriate person and have you join our very large and ever-growing network.
Excellent. Well, I would like to, I'm just going to find out if there's any other questions from either Miriam or Peter, who are monitoring our Q&A section. If you had one comment, Anthony, to anybody who is listening to this, because, you know, there's always some new evolution in technology. I was one of those people that bought the talking house. I still have an entire garage full of them. Anybody who doesn't know what they are shouldn't be selling real estate. But what would you wrap this with? Because, you know, people have given their time and their energy to kind of hear what you had to say. And I just wondered, from a, you know, just from who you are and what you do and your experience in the industry, what would you say to someone who is thinking about this?
I'd say it's an absolute no-brainer. The cost is extraordinarily nominal, especially in light of the incredible benefits and lift you're going to get out of really every aspect of important aspect of the business. Your relationship with your agents, your relationship with your vendors, the connectivity with everybody, creating the community that really we've all aspired to create in our brokerages. This is the facilitating, you know, tool to do it.
Yeah, it looks pretty comprehensive, and I just wonder why, you know, it wasn't, why we didn't have it some 30 years ago. Wouldn't that have been great? We could have just been superstars. And I would like to pose that same question to Bart, because Bart, with your technical capabilities, obviously you looked at this slightly differently than people like me. What one thought would you give to the people who are on this call?
Well, I agree with Anthony. It's definitely a no-brainer. The idea that everything is simply in one spot makes the agents, which is my client, makes their life easier. And if they can do more for that and be more effective for their clients, bottom line, they're going to use it. So I think it's just a win-win situation for everybody up and down the ladder.
Yeah, like Anthony said, the vision is to make the agents' business more streamlined, more efficient, more effective, and ultimately then their clients and customers. Everybody's happier. You as the management's happier because your agents are productive and you have less turnover, and clearly it's so easy. It's so much easier than, you know, any other evolution that's come putting everything together like that. And Lauren, one of the questions we had is, how long is your demo? If somebody does contact you at sales@clareity.com for a private demo, how long does that take?
It can be anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. It really is based off questions. This is a very simple product. The real core of this is just making things more convenient for everybody that is involved in your firm. So when we do a presentation, we will go through the same thing and then, of course, answer any questions you have and go over the pricing with you. So please email us at sales@clareity.com, and we'd be happy to set up a private one-on-one demo with you and your company, or give you any pricing or answer any additional questions that you guys may have.
Yeah, one of the other questions was, and I'm going to ask this carefully, I am, but you know that the 50% of the world is under 30 years old, and the average agent is just a little bit north of 50. So we had a question that wanted to know if older generation agents are using this. And I am not going to answer that question. I just want Anthony to chime in there first.
Anybody who's using the MLS is using it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, it doesn't discriminate.
Well, have you had any pushback from any of your more seasoned agents about not wanting to use it, or have they just jumped on and said this is great?
No, we've had no pushback, honestly, and we have, you know, we have millennials on up, and everybody, you know, universally, as I was mentioning, and as Bart was mentioning, I know, is, universally well received.
Excellent. And Bart, did you have anything to add there?
Nope, haven't had any pushback at all. In fact, asking for more. So more things can we add, and we'll definitely be looking at that.
I've got one last question, if I could, and that would be to Lauren. Can agents add apps that they actually use to the dashboard themselves, or does it have to? Is there a different process?
That's a really great question, and it's something I forgot to mention. So in the second or next iteration of our Clareity dashboard for our brokerages will be the option for agents to individually drag and drop their resources or applications, so even making this dashboard more customizable down to the individual agent. Those 250 single sign-on integrations that we have, and that also to our library is growing, we will include that onto this dashboard. So if an agent is using Cloud CMA or a top producer product, or they want to just kind of start dragging and dropping their social media, because I know many agents will use social media to promote themselves and their properties that they're selling. So they will be able to drag and drop. That's not live yet, but it is something that is in the works. And one of the greatest things about Clareity 2 and this dashboard is because we're creating this dashboard and involving this dashboard from the MLS association down to the broker side. So we're constantly talking to our customers and constantly talking to individuals like the panelist on this call to see what else do your agents want to see, what else do your members, what would be useful and more efficient and convenient. I mean, another reason we created this dashboard is because, if you start looking at the quality and then also the quantity of time you spend, educating, promoting all of this stuff, why not put it in one place where no matter what the age of the agent is, no matter if they're a new agent that's been in the industry for 1 year or they've been in it for several decades, we want to make it efficient, convenient, and easy to use. So we're constantly innovative. Clareity is constantly growing, so that drag and drop feature is something that will be on the horizon sooner rather than later.
Great. Well, that was a great question that they posed about the apps, because that's going to be, as you said, the next iteration. Well, I want to thank everybody for being on this call today on behalf of RISMedia. Brokers are faced every single day with making choices, and the choices can't just be just to solve a problem, but rather to be the leader, the sales leader, and the value that's relevant to their clients, which are the agents, and then their clients. And I think that this demonstration and getting input from you, Anthony and Bart, has been extremely valuable to the people that are on the call, so that they can evaluate how seamless it seems to have been for you and how effective it's been. So that we are recorded, we've recorded this program for you, so you'll be able to go back, and if you have any questions, but you can always contact sales@clareity.com. And we look forward to another RISMedia Broker Series webinar next month, and thanks so much for joining us.